In this session, we are going to introduce some text operations. Basically, it's string operations. String, as you can imagine, there's a lot of possible methods that can do different processing of the string. We have learned like to uppercase, to lowercase, equals, compared to, and this split. String method is very versatile. So what you can do is you can just in Eclipse type in a string and type a dot. Then Eclipse will give you a list of methods that's available for your string object. So these are very powerful. At the same time, if you don't use them, it's easy to forget because there are so many of them. So in this session, we are going to give a quick and brief introduction of what is there available for you. And if you need to use them, you will need to write your own code to get familiar with them. So the first one, of course, is what we have used, split. Split will split a string based on the character, the separator you provided. If it's a space, then every time Java virtual machine sees the space, it will split the string into before and after, so on and so forth. We have already used split for several times. The other one is substring. Substring class, class provides some methods that search for a string inside the string, which is also a very useful feature. Like you want to search hello in hello world, right? You can check whether string starts with a string, end with a particular string. For example, hello world, is that start with hello? Is that end with world? And there's also region match, because strings can be of different encoding or character set. It could be in Japanese, in Chinese, in English, or in Russian. It depends on the region. You will need to use a particular region to define how you want to match these two strings. You can also search string and find where the scores, find where the particular substring exists in the string. For example, our familiar quote, 7 years ago. Where is the word 7? Where is the word 4? You have the start with, and you can have end with, region match, and index of. Index of will return the first location of a substring. For example, if it's 7 years ago, the first location of 4 is 0, right? And also you have the last index of. If there are multiple occurrences of the substring, it will return the last index. And remember, this index starts with 0. You can see this index of, the last index of. And 1, 1, and 2, and 3. And you want to search for, and the first one shows up in 0, and the last one shows up here. So these are the things that you may be using. Index of and there's also a star option, where if you specify this, you can search the index of the character after a certain starting point. Now you can also see that all these names are index of, but they have different signature. And a question for you now, what is this called? The same string class have different methods with the same name, but different signature. Is that a polymorphism? Is that overloading, or is that overriding? Okay, and some more, last index of. And you can get the substring starting at the character 14. Now remember, this substring method returns the substring beginning at the start location. Optionally, you can also specify ending location. Remember, string is immutable. So when you run this method, you are not making change to the existing string. Instead, Java Virtual Machine will create a new string and return the address to the variable that you put in front of that substring. In here, this is the last name. This substring will not change. This substring method will not change the full name string. Instead, it will return a new object which contains that substring, and the new object's address is placed into this last name variable. And string class also provide methods to extract substrings in a string object and store in a char array. You can do this to-char array. It will convert a string into an array of char values. And there's also concatenate, replace, and trim. Similarly, they will return a new string object with the change that you made. And there's also a value of method, which will convert a primitive type into a string that can represent the value of it. So as you can see, we are going through this really quick because these methods are simple to understand. But in order to master them, you need to use them really in practice. So the purpose of this slide is just to go through everything, the most important things, methods of string class, and give you some idea on where to find them